Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson, they're the obvious choices. But today I'm going to give you 3 alternate candidates to finish 2024 as the QB1 overall in fantasy football. And here's the secret. They're way cheaper than the other guys. Kyler Murray is now a full year removed from his ACL injury, and he's set up to have his best season yet. Even coming off the injury last season, Murray performed well once he returned. He scored as a top 12 quarterback 5 times, completed 66% of his passes, and he ranked top 10 among quarterbacks in fantasy points per dropback. And it was especially impressive that he was able to run like nothing had happened. He totaled 244 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. And Kyler Murray gets a lot of hate for liking video games and such, but we can't ignore that he's consistently been a high-end quarterback in fantasy football. In his career, Kyler Murray has scored as the QB11, which was his rookie season, the QB3, the QB4, and the QB7. And then in his half season off the ACL last year, Kyler Murray was the QB9 in fantasy points per game. And that was in addition to not practicing with the team all offseason and not participating in training camp or preseason. Now Kyler Murray has had a full offseason. He'll be there for training camp and preseason, and he has some of the best weapons of his career. Rookie wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., who they drafted with the 4th overall pick, he's going to be a major difference maker on top of last year's breakout tight end Trey McBride. I really think the Cardinals are going to be one of the better offenses in the NFL. So everything's coming together. All the stars are aligning for Kyler Murray to have a great season, and he's got legitimate QB1 overall upside. And yet you can get him at a multi-round discount compared to Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson. Even Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, and Joe Burrow often go ahead of him in drafts. So he's a great value, huge upside. I cannot and will not stop drafting Kyler Murray in 2024. Let me know in the comments. Are you with me? It was so heartbreaking to see Anthony Richardson go down so early into his rookie season. But man, he was so good when he was out there. In the 2 games that Richardson made through healthy, he averaged more than 25 fantasy points, and he scored as the QB2 and the QB4. And a lot of those fantasy points came from his 136 rushing yards while scoring a rushing touchdown in 3 of his 4 starts. That's something we can expect to see a lot more of in 2024, and it's really the primary reason for drafting him. I mean, I know it was a really small sample, but Anthony Richardson ranked number 5 among quarterbacks in rush attempts per game and number 3 in red zone carries. He averaged 0.81 fantasy points per dropback, which would have ranked number 1 among all quarterbacks. Now he's going to pair that incredible rushing ability with improved weaponry. Remember, Anthony Richardson really didn't get to play with Jonathan Taylor last year. Between Taylor's holdout and Richardson's injury woes, it worked out to be about half a game with those 2 playing together. So now we're going to get one of the NFL's best rushing quarterbacks and one of its best running backs together in the same backfield. That is going to be electric. And on top of that, the team brought back wide receiver Michael Pittman, who had a breakout campaign in 2023. They used a 2nd-round pick on another wide receiver, Adonai Mitchell, and they're returning Josh Downs after his impressive rookie season. So that sets up the Colts as potentially one of the better offenses in the NFL. And head coach Shane Steichen has already said he's not worried about Anthony Richardson getting injured again. He's going to let him do his thing. And we love Shane Steichen from a fantasy gamer's perspective because not only does he get the ball to his playmakers, which are our fantasy stars, but he runs the offense at a fast pace. The Colts were top 3 in pace of play in 2023. And why do we care about how fast or slow an offense runs? Because the faster an offense plays, the more plays that they run. And of course, the more plays an offense runs, the more opportunities there are to score fantasy points. So really, Anthony Richardson holds as much upside as any quarterback in fantasy football. There's no reason why he can't be a top 5 quarterback. And like I said with Kyler Murray, Anthony Richardson will challenge the likes of Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes to be the top scoring quarterback in all of fantasy football. We all agree that the best part of fantasy football is the draft, right? I used to have to stop myself from drafting too many teams because how am I going to manage that many rosters during the season? I don't have time for all that. That's where Underdog Fantasy comes in. On Underdog, all you do is draft. No lineup setting, no waiver wire, just draft, and you're done. And you can win real money. I'm drafting teams everywhere I go. I'm drafting in line at the grocery store. I'm drafting while I'm cooking dinner. And don't tell my boss, but I'm drafting teams on Underdog all day while I'm at work. There's no limit. So get on Underdog Fantasy, use promo code YARDSPER to get your pick'em special and your $250 deposit bonus, and start drafting morning, day, and night. Jayden Daniels is officially the Week 1 starter for the Washington Commanders. He's also officially the most underrated quarterback in fantasy football. Daniels is coming off a Heisman Trophy winning season after throwing for nearly 4,000 yards and scoring 50 total touchdowns at LSU. And on top of that, he also ran for 1,100 yards. And that's where his value for us as fantasy gamers comes in. We all know the impact that rushing yards and rushing touchdowns have for quarterbacks in fantasy football. I mean, just look at the top quarterbacks by ADP right now. It's Jalen Hurts, it's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes. All four of those guys, especially Hurts, Allen, and Lamar, are high-level rushers. And even beyond them, we have Kyler Murray and Anthony Richardson. The only reason Jayden Daniels isn't with that group is because he's a rookie. And that's fair. I'm not asking anybody to rank or draft Jayden Daniels among the elite quarterbacks in fantasy. But he could absolutely have a similar impact. He has the arm to make all the throws, and he's going to utilize his legs a ton as he adapts to the NFL game. Think about it. He's a rookie quarterback who isn't yet fully acclimated to the complexity and speed of NFL defenses. So what's he going to do when he gets in trouble? He's going to lean on his instincts and athleticism, and he's going to pull the ball down and run. That immediately gives him a high floor for fantasy purposes. So even if he experiences some rookie growing pains, he's still going to be a quality fantasy asset. Where the ceiling comes in, though, is if he hits as a passer. And that's totally possible. He certainly has the arm talent and the weapons to make it happen. If everything hits, Jayden Daniels could have an RG3-like rookie season and set the fantasy world on fire.